Welcome to another edition of Around the Ice, a fantasy hockey podcast provided to you by Fantasy and Frames. I'm your host, filling in for JT tonight, Toast Clark, and I'm joined by my regular co-host, Aaron Tomatich, and we have a special guest tonight on the show, my brother and newbie to fantasy hockey, Gail Clark. So we have a great show tonight. What is a night of NHL Frozen Frenzy? But before we go in, you could find us at FIF Hockey on the X and even around the ice, keeping four eyes on the puck on YouTube. Guys, I normally don't ask anybody to do this, and we'll continue to do it through the show, but I'm going to ask that everybody, when they do get on the show, give us a like. Give us a like on YouTube. Just hit that thumbs up. That's all we actually ask. Hey, guys, let's go ahead and go around the ice.
Where's my money? You gonna give me my money? Where's my money, man?
All right, so first segment of tonight, let's go ahead and talk about our bets for tonight. We always do this segment where we have bets for the games that have yet to start. So we have three games that have yet to start. We have a 9 o'clock game, a 9:30 game, and a 10 o'clock game, all Central Time. We got the Rangers at Vancouver at 9 o'clock. We got Montreal at Seattle at 9:30 Central, and the LA Kings, man, starting a Central Time game at San Jose Sharks. That thing's going to get over around 12:45 our time. I'm debating, do I stay up? Do I actually not? I don't know. But those are the three games we actually have tonight. And guys, Aaron, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you because what we like to do here first is put together a little bet for the listeners. So what do you have for us tonight, Aaron? What bets do you like in these three games?
Yeah, keep it simple here. Like you said, Toasty, shout out to Frozen Frenzy. It seems to become a tradition now in the NHL. Started off a couple of years ago, and it continues to be what I would understand and imagine to be a rating success with all 32 teams on the ice in some way, shape, or form, and then the addition, we kind of shouted it out last week on the pod with ESPN and their multi-view, their feature that they deployed. I think it was this year. I certainly didn't notice it last year, but they've got the Frozen Frenzy split screen, and then you can have three other games. So what is that? You're talking 3, 4, 5 games, 6 games, depending on how much they break up the Frozen Frenzy. It almost gets too hard to see. Like I'm standing up, like I got to put my readers on. I see Gail's got his on, but yeah, it's like I gotta. It's almost too much if there is such a thing. But no, getting to the bets, Toast. It's just an exciting day. One of those days where, especially if you hit a bet early. I didn't put any money down early because I wanted to. My one and big bet tonight. I just wanted to go with the pod and be with the listeners who do say or who do kind of hop on, so we can all make that same bet and all kind of ride together on the bet. So tonight's bet for me, it's going to be the Canucks, like you said, Toast. They're hosting the Rangers. I don't know if you guys remember that, but when the Rangers and the Canucks played for the Cup, when Messier guaranteed the Game 6 win, and then of course New York won the Stanley Cup after the long drought, and Vancouver about burning their city down. It always reminds me of that when these two teams play. But I'm taking a goal and a half with the Canucks. These two teams are defining inconsistency and expectations weren't high for either one of these teams, but they both suck ass. So I'm taking the puck. I'm taking the extra goal and a half and taking the home team. I've got Montreal money line. Montreal playing great, exceeding expectation. Demidov, no surprise. I think he's still leading the rookies in scoring. I don't know. He's Russian, so that's your thing, Toast. I'll let you talk about him. But then I got my boy Dylan Guenther, plus 1 point. They're taking on the no, that's not the Oil. Is it the Oil? I think they're playing the Oilers, right? Well, anyway, doesn't matter. Whoever you thought.
We got. Sorry, the Kings and San Jose.
No, I don't have a bet on that one. I've got
Okay.
just before. So the game that's just kicking off now.
Yeah, that's Utah
so
at
get
Edmonton.
it in. Yes. And actually, I think they're just getting ready to drop the puck. Like the ref literally has it. So get that Dylan Guenther bet in plus 1. You combine all these to a 3-leg parlay. We're at plus 307. I'm going to put about 20 units on that and see where we go. See if I can get a little scratch in the game here.
No, very good. Yeah, and Gail, I don't know if you actually had anything on these games. Do you I like any bets for these 3 games here after 9 p.m. Central?
I wrote one thing down, and it's really just because the guy's on my team, and I know this is not a big name guy, but I think it's at a pretty good line. The Rangers at Vancouver. The Rangers have been awful. They have
Yeah.
sucked lately, and I didn't see if Shesterkin's the goaltender or not, but he's on my fantasy team, and they've been god awful bad here recently. Another guy on my fantasy team that I'll just throw this out there for fun. Connor Garland has 11 points in 8 games, and he has 4 multi-point games. Taking him for 2+ points is plus 285. If you pair up Elias Pettersson with that, it goes to plus 420. So if you think that the Canucks are going to score some goals on a real leaky Rangers team that's just been ass here lately, maybe Connor Garland at plus 285. I know he's not a big name, and maybe that's why it's the plus 285 for the 2 points or more.
Now, Gail, I like it, and here's the reason why I like the Garland angle. Let's add on that here a little bit, and we'll go around the ice here soon and cover all the games. But Garland so far, 11 points in 10 games, 3 goals, 8 assists. But here's the telling story. What you actually like about this: shooting 11.5% early on 26 shots on goal. It's very good, very good. And here's the best: 21 minutes time on ice. He's never had time on ice like this as a career, and he's actually making the most of it right now. He's got 4 power play assists as well, and 8 hits, 6 blocks. Okay, fine, but he's pacing for 70 hits. That's not awful. So Connor Garland, right winger, eligible. And if you actually picked him up early off waivers, or if you happen to have him in a deeper league, you're reaping the benefits right now. So perfect. And I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and let me go ahead and tell everybody what I have on tap for tonight. And then we'll get into some toast takes, and then let's go around the ice here, guys. We'll talk about all tonight's game, the fun part. But tonight, that New York Rangers and Vancouver game, you guys mentioned it. Those teams are bad. They're awful. I don't know if Quinn Hughes is going tonight. I don't think he is. So yeah, Aaron, shake your head no. So yeah, I mean, just more reason for a struggling Rangers team to go in there. And versus Vancouver, I started Demko, and I was happy to actually start Demko. I think Demko actually have a good game. The Rangers haven't shown to do very much. Probably like the under in this game. But that's not one of my bets. This is a dead game for me. Don't want anything to do with it. Montreal at Seattle at 10:30 Eastern time. Cole Caulfield with a goal. You got to like Caulfield. Yeah, you actually even look in the last week. You know, he's got three goals in 3 games. I think he's got 7 or 8 on the season. Really, really hot right now, and you can get Caulfield probably around plus 150, plus 160 somewhere, and that's good money for him going in and facing a Seattle team who they can play a tight game, but then again, Montreal's so unbelievably fast. So let's see what they can do. And then favorite game on the entire slate is that last game of the night. And that's that Kings game at San Jose. And you know there's going to be a bunch of goals scored. You don't think that normally with a Kings game. Gail, you said it the other night perfectly, like, God, watching the Kings is like watching the paint dry. They're just brutal to watch. But going into San Jose is going to actually put up some goals. The Kings are actually on a back-to-back. You would think that this may be a good spot for goals to be scored and goals galore. So I love a Macklin Celebrini assist, an Adrian Kempe goal who is just red hot right now. Red hot for Kempe. Over 5.5, which I was surprised it wasn't at 6 or 6.5. They gave us 5.5 because of the Kings. But I don't think it's going to matter tonight. And then William Eklund, a guy who's actually come on really, really strong. And I think he's almost a point per game player this year so far through 9 or 10 contests for a point. So if you get the Caulfield goal, Kempe goal, Celebrini assist, the over 5.5 and the Eklund point, you get plus 2,067. And honestly, I like that. Go ahead and sprinkle $10 on it. Have yourself a night. But that is the late games play of the day for me.
I like it, Toast.
Hey, Brian, say that again.
He's putting it in live.
The Eklund assist, right?
Eklund point. So again, I think Gail's want to place a late night bet here.
I'm just typing it in. We'll see.
Yeah. So Caulfield goal, Kempe goal, Celebrini assist, Eklund point, and over 5.5 for the LA Kings San Jose Sharks game. You can get it at plus 2,067. It sounds like that's a random number, but nevertheless, over 2,000. Let me go ahead and just talk a little bit about the toast takes as well for tonight. I was a little late getting these in, and I've lately been doing a lotto goal parlay of the day. That'll be on the left side of the card when you actually see that posted on at FIF Hockey. And for tonight's, I have Adrian Kempe, a hot Adrian Kempe right now. Also, Vlad Nichushkin for Colorado. Has scored 3 goals in his last 3 games, getting very good deployment. He's been red hot. So, and then 2 red hot players to go along with that. Mark Scheifele, who has not actually scored a goal yet tonight, but has been scoring goals in bunches. And then we actually have Dylan Larkin. So those 4, Kempe, Scheifele, Larkin, and Nichushkin, just over plus 4,900. Put $5 on it. Put $5 on it. And then the 5-leg parlay of the day, and it's looking pretty darn good for me so far. I actually have Dylan Larkin for a point, which has actually already went. He's got himself an assist tonight. And also he's got himself a goal. So there's my goal for the Stars goal parlay of the day. That's one of them. And we also have the LA Kings San Jose over 5.5. The Chicago plus 1.5, getting goals. That's looking great so far. You could actually got that at plus 140, believe it or not. Insane price for Chicago, playing well and having 1-goal games almost in every game they played this year. Celebrating assist and Connor McDavid assist. So let me recap that again. We got McDavid assist, Larkin point, Celebrini assist, Kings San Jose Shark over 5.5, and Chicago plus 1.5, plus 748, $10 plays $75.
I mean that you said it all, and the beginning part of that card is going good. So I just took a glance at that Detroit game. I don't know if you saw this, but I'm going to ask you to guess. Either one of you can answer. But what number goal was that for Dylan Larkin, who's not known as a goal scorer this early in the season? If you haven't seen it, wild guess. What's your first? How many goals do you think he's got with the one tonight
In his career?
No. It just this year, so far this year.
I'm guessing 8.
Close.
6.
You split the difference. 7. 7th goal
Wow.
for that. 7 goals for this guy. This guy's not known. He's known as that two-way center, the leader, the captain. But I really think when Detroit was on the cusp of a playoff and the whole thing, we talked about it with Todd on the pod before, and of course JT, our resident Detroit fan there. A little bit of friction with Stevie Y and in his kind of like, well, we didn't make any trade deadline moves because this is our team. Go win. We expect you guys to play. And I guess Dylan Larkin's going out there. Message heard, message received. I'm going to put 7 tucks in, which I don't ever remember a pace for him at this torrid. So, and it's already hit as part of your parlay. So that's that. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a plus 700 banger there, and it's shaping up for you there, Toast.
Perfect. Let's see if it can continue. I haven't really been on a hot streak yet this year, so tonight is as good as any to go ahead and get started. Guys, let's go ahead and go around the ice. Let's talk about tonight's action. Go around the ice.
Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is the good old hockey game.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and talk about, this is where we actually go around the ice. We're going to go through all of the games. It may take a little bit because we're going to go through all 16. We may skip over a couple, and we may not go as in depth in some, but we want to touch on every game here. Aaron, I'm going to go ahead and give you the start here. The Golden Knights went into the Hurricanes tonight and actually beat them 6-3. I don't know if you caught any of that, but now the Knights sit at 6-1-3 and actually going and beat a really good Hurricanes team for a statement win. And just went in there and pumped those guys good. Vegas was into that game as a plus 125 coming in.
Yeah. And I believe, and I'd have to go. Well, we can't look at it now because the bets are closed, the future bets. But I think these were your Stanley Cup favorites for most of your Vegas bet sport. With them playing and playing well and playing high level hockey. They both had really hot starts. Things hitting on all cylinders for both teams, and it's just that early season matchup. But I'll be honest with you, Toast, that was a shock to see the Golden Knights go and really not have too hard of a time handling the team at home, handling Carolina at home. Carolina plays very well at home. They're a very well coached, disciplined team. So it's just the overall power of the Knights that really prevailed. Quick shout out, just like Gail did, because he's on my team, Dorofeyev, another couple tucks. He's up to 9. So from my early future prediction of him getting 50 goals, which was a 1 in a million shot, winning the Rocket Richard Trophy, he's got 41 to go. 41 to go, and we're in week 3. So your boy's looking pretty good on that. Dorofeyev, he's just shoot, never pass. Don't even look at the other players. Don't even worry about what the defense is doing. When that puck hits his stick, it goes right to that goalie. Sometimes they go in and sometimes they miss, but he's going to shoot. So big win, big statement win, like you said, Toast, for the Knights.
Yeah, and Dorofeyev on the early season right now, 9 goals in 10 games, only 1 assist, as you were saying before, 33 shots on goal.
No passing.
No passing, shoot. You know what? I had no problem with the guy actually not shooting or not passing in the event that he can actually shoot like a maniac and just let this guy go. I was actually following that Blue Jackets Sabres game closely tonight, and I'm not going to go into great detail. I just want to mention a couple of things here that it was nice to see Yegor Chinakhov actually get off the schneid here. He gets a goal the other night. He gets another goal and another assist tonight. I sat him in our home league because I hadn't really trusted him yet. Plus, you guys actually know on these Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, you got to sit so many guys, especially this week with the schedule, right? I mean, your bench may outscore some of your starters, and it's going to be frustrating. That's just fantasy hockey, and it's actually the way it goes when the schedule falls the way it does. But it was nice for him to actually get off the schneid and get the goal and assist. He had 15 minutes of time on ice as well. That's more like the guy that we actually know, but he's kind of been in the doghouse because he's demanded a trade. They've been trying to accommodate. He can wear the Indian sweater if he wants. I'm fine with that. If he wants to come on over and do that, that's no problem. And it was nice also to see Zach Werenski get a goal tonight and an assist. Werenski, after the red-hot season last year, started off a little slow. And I say start off slow, he's still actually averaging close to 4 points in an Ultra Bangers League. So he shoots the puck, right? And Gail, I'm going to pass another game off to you, but I did notice we talked about Monahan today from the Blue Jackets. He finally actually gets on the score sheet tonight. Monahan, there's no way that he'll be as quiet as he's been this year. He'll be a guy that a lot of people should pursue and try to buy low on right now. But Gail, I'm going to pass it over to you because you can either talk about the Bruins and Islanders that have actually finished up or the Flyers and the Penguins. Which one do you like?
I watched the Flyers and the Penguins. I had a personal stake in that, just made a trade, had a guy on the Flyers, Travis Konechny. I know he's been bad for a while. I'm taking a flyer on him, no pun intended. He had a goal tonight. It was his 200th goal of his career. The one thing I noticed about the Flyers, and you guys know that I'm an amateur hockey fan compared to both of you professionals here, but the Flyers, they killed off a couple different power plays that the Penguins had. They seem to play with more energy when they're shorthanded. If they could just carry some of that energy over to being even-handed, maybe my amateur eye catches that, and maybe they catch that too. But there was a big fight at the end of that. You had all kinds of game misconduct at the end of that overtime. Also, Forster had a goal at the end of overtime with 20 seconds left, and they went back to the studio in Toronto, and it was offsides by a millimeter. I mean, the technology involved now is just insane. But Sidney Crosby had a goal. Travis Konechny had a goal. It went to a shootout. Man, those teams, they don't like each other. I mean, you can tell it's a Pennsylvania grudge match. And when you get all kinds of penalty minutes thrown in at the end of the game and game misconducts, I'm sure those Flyers fans love that crap over there.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'll add here, and again, I've been on Matvey Michkov watch, and Michkov, what an unbelievably slow start to the season. 3 points in 9 games so far, only shooting 5.9%, only averaging 15 minutes of time on ice, but it has picked up here of recent. Let's hope that Matvey Michkov can actually pick it up there as well for a Flyers team that really needs him. Some other finals tonight. Maple Leafs actually hold off the Flames. That was a late goal by Max Domi. It was a 3-3 tie. Calgary is thinking, okay, let's just get this to overtime, see if we can actually hold on. And what Domi actually puts in the game winner, assisted by Matthew Nyes, who Nyes had a big game, 2 goals and an assist, and he had been quiet over the last couple games and explodes tonight. And John Tavares actually with the assist and the game winner as well. And man, Tavares has really had a great start to the season. Has actually outshined guys like Austin Matthews. So Tavares, a guy that probably you got, I would say, probably an ADP of right around 80, 90, somewhere around there. I mean, you're reaping the benefits right now. He's had a very good start to the season. I have John Tavares right now at 5 goals, 8 assists, 13 points in 10 games, 27 shots on goal. So really good for the 35-year-old who just keeps making it happen. And he also signs that friendly deal with Toronto in the offseason, right? I believe it was was it a 4 or 5 year, like at $4.5 million? It was super cheap. That's just, hey, I'm going to stay here with the Leafs. We're actually going to make it happen. You got to give kudos to guys like that. Aaron, you were wanting to say something?
Oh no, sorry. No, agreeing
Okay.
with every point you're making. But I will say this about Tavares. If you remember, now he's born and raised in Toronto, right? So he's a Toronto kid. All the controversy that was with him when he left the Islanders and went over to Toronto, all money. I mean, the guy can't set foot in the Islanders barn because they just boo the living daylights out of him. And he's talked to the media about it, talked to the press, but you see what his character is and where his mind at. Like it was legit. He wanted to be a Leaf. He signs that team friendly deal. He has the start that he has this year with the Leafs. Excuse me. I never thought this. I didn't think he'd outproduce Austin Matthews. And then I know he didn't play or didn't have the net tonight, but Joseph Woll's return. He had I think it might have been player assistance or maybe just leave of absence. I don't know what it was. Doesn't really matter. But to have a guy like that as your 1B, possibly 1A, getting a guy like that back to settle that net down when Stolarz needs a break, good on them. They had kind of a bumpy start, but seems like they're hitting the cylinders. And again, a good gut check win tonight. Flames are kind of floundering a bit, but hey, a win's a win.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, Brian,
and yep.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say we have another final. We had the Bruins that actually stave off the Islanders 5-2 tonight on home ice, and David Pastrnak actually gets a goal tonight. He gets an assist as well. Morgan Geekie is actually coming through with a goal. Bo Horvat actually has another goal, and he's had a real nice start for the Islanders. But the Islanders are they're trash. They're no good at all. Gail, you'll talk a little bit more about the Islanders here in a bit. But Gail, I am going to pass on another game to you here. Because we actually have Utah at Oilers tonight. We're 10 minutes left, halfway through the first period, and your guy, Logan Cooley, with another goal, his 8th of the season. But go ahead and say what you're going to say before, and also your thoughts on early on this Utah team. And Aaron, you can chime in on that too.
Well, I was going to tell you also, Bedard just scored another goal, so the Hawks are up 4-0. I've got the frenzy on right above my monitor, so I'm getting distracted by it. But yeah, 4-0 Blackhawks. Logan Cooley, but you guys know, 21 years old. I've been watching some Mammoth games. Aaron, I know why you like Gunther so much now after just watching literally a couple minutes here and a couple minutes there of those guys all playing. Damn, are those guys going to be dangerous? Does Cooley have a knack for scoring early in games? Because it's once again right inside the first 10 minutes. And he's had some monster first 10 minutes of first periods. But heck, he's on my team. I got him in a trade. Just wanted to get younger with my team. And good Lord, 8 goals did you say, Brian, in 10 games now with Cooley?
Yeah.
you watch those guys play, and the sky's the limit for that team right now. They are all coming together. They've got Clayton Keller, who's been there for a while, but you've got some of these other guys, Gunther and Cooley. I mean, that is a solid core, and they're all so young. They're just kids. But yeah, Logan Cooley. I'm gonna have to get a Logan Cooley jersey to wear around my house.
Yeah, and Aaron, you talk a little bit about Utah as well. I know this is your team. You actually really championed before the season started. And about every podcast we actually did in the preseason, you're like, hey, watch out for Marty Natchez. And also, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Utah Mammoth. So I'm sure you've actually seen the same in Utah. And we actually have an unsung hero, Nick Schmaltz. Nick Schmaltz has just come out of nowhere. And who does Nick Schmaltz think he is? The former Blackhawk. Who the hell does he think he is? Still only 92% rostered.
Crazy. If he's out there in your league, go pick him up because he's playing well. But kind of building off what Gail said with these young, fast guys, and you do have your veteran presence as well. Again, it's a guy that's been in the league for a while, started his career with the Hawks, but yeah, Schmaltzy's been around, locker room guy, character guy, all that good stuff, grinds it out, plays some second and third line center, can kill penalties, can work a power play. So he's just kind of your Swiss Army knife of a player that every team needs, and that adds to the depth. And then one of the biggest offseason wins for Utah was J.J. Peterka. He's kind of had a quiet season, but much like he did on Buffalo, he's a setup guy. He's a pass-first guy. So opposite of Pavel Dorofeev that we talked about earlier, but he is a great skilled passer. But when you got a guy that can shoot like Gunther, you got a guy that can fly like Cooley, you got Clayton Keller that can fly, you got all these young guys. Just in my very limited, very, very slow adult league experience, you get these guys that got a step or have a step on the competition, and it's easy to pass the puck. You got about a 3-foot radius because these guys can fly, pick up the puck on mid stride, and then you get the next thing you know, you get the primary assist when all you're really doing was just kind of dumping the puck. So that's how I see Utah playing. I see that speed first game. I think as the year goes on, maybe their weak point would be defensively, maybe not quite as deep defensively. But so far they're getting the goaltending that they needed. And right now they're sitting on top of the Western with 16 points. I know there's a tie. I know it's early. I know Vegas is just as hot, but that's a first place team right there, boys. Hey, you heard it here first. Well, you probably heard it at somewhere else, but at least we said it. We said that the Utah, look out for them. This could be the year they make the playoffs. So we'll see. Long season to go. We're week 3. Don't want to get ahead of it too much, but love the speed game. Fun to watch, and a sharp jersey. So yeah, Gail, if you go with that Cooley jersey, it's a sleek look. You got the Mammoth on there. I think you might turn some heads if you decide to get that. So that's a good buy.
Yeah, and Vimmelka, actually a great pickup early on. And I know, Gail, I know you actually picked him up in the league as well. And actually have been streaming to him, and he may be a keeper considering this is going to be a team that's going to win a lot of games. We actually have a comment for Jorge. Sorry for being late. I take it I missed the ripping my fantasy league team segment. No, you haven't missed that yet, Jorge. We've been looking forward to it. So don't worry. We'll get to that, and we'll make sure to give you plenty of crap for your fantasy team and the apologies ahead of time. So we have another final, the Ducks and this Frozen Frenzy Tuesday, which I just love. 3-2 Ducks go in to the Panthers and actually win versus a Panthers team that's just, let's face it, everything's coming difficult right now. And even Marchand's actually out tonight. I believe he actually had to attend some out for personal reasons. Maybe he had to attend a funeral, if I remember right. So they're really, really shorthanded tonight. They do get a late goal with 3 minutes left on the clock and make it interesting in the third from Sam Reinhart to at least force overtime and get a point at home. But the Ducks actually come through, and you got goals from Cutter Gauthier and Leo Carlson. Jackson Lacombe actually assisting. Leo Carlson getting another assist. Just like Utah, tons of youth on that Anaheim team, and they're a team actually coming, man. So let's go ahead and talk more as we go around the ice here. I don't like what I see right now because the Senators have now actually cut that lead in half. It is now 4-2 Blackhawks. They need to tighten up here a little bit, but we are on Connor Bedard. As you guys mentioned, Connor Bedard hat trick watch, and then we got a assist by Artie Levshinoff as well, the second overall pick in the 2024 draft on the Connor Bedard second goal, and then Jake Sanderson comes in with the first goal of the game, assisted by your guy, Gail, Drake Batherson. And you're going to have a chance to talk about Batherson here in a bit. And our boy, Timmy Stutz. Timmy Stutz with an assist as well. And then some dude named Michael Amadio. We all know who he is, but who cares? It's 4-2 Hawks, almost halfway through the game. They need to tighten up a little bit. This is a game where, we should be pumping these guys, and we're going to. But Spencer Knight's been outstanding in goal so far this year. The Hawks, you want that to continue tonight. Lightning at Predators. Anybody who actually want to take a shit stain of this game here and actually talk about the Lightning versus the Predators, where the Lightning, boy, they haven't been great. They are on a little bit of a roll here after having an ungodly start. Kucherov gets a game winner in overtime, I believe, the last game they actually played. And now they're actually visiting the Predators. They're up 2-1 and are almost approaching the halfway through the third period. Anybody want to take a game? Anybody want to talk about Lightning or Predators? If you don't, I don't blame you.
Other than to make fun, and I love Brandon Hagel. He's had some great years, but you mentioned Kucherov with a slow start. Hagues is equally slow. Again, that said, former Hawks, so there's always a warm place in our hearts for any former Hawks as they continue to have success. He's a Stanley Cup champion, so who really cares about starts and stuff? But no, these teams stink, and it stinks to watch. And I don't even think, like, with all the games going on, I don't even think my eyes have darted in the direction of that game. So I'll just leave it that way and not even look at it.
Yep, we have another comment from Jorge. He says, talking about Frozen Frenzy, he's got it on right now, and good Lord. And good Lord, he's saying, this Frozen Frenzy, you have the opportunity to turn on what is equivalent to the Red Zone channel, right? For every single Sunday in football. You got them cutting the goals the entire night. You got the multi-view that ESPN's actually brought out, and you got 16 games that started at 5 p.m. Central tonight. It's like Christmas for hockey fans, and I was all just could not wait to come in and watch this tonight. And we actually have Jorge's and joining as well. Gail, we got Colorado up 2-0 at the end of first there. Martin Necas with a goal on the power play, number 7 of the year, assisted by McCarr and Ballard Nichushkin, who I needed for a goal tonight. He gets an assist, and then a bunch of no names actually score, which would be a banger's leg for Colorado. But what have you actually seen early on in the season from either Colorado or New Jersey, and even fantasy players that you maybe liked?
I'm more inclined to watch New Jersey. I've got a number of guys on my fantasy team that are Devils. Heck, a couple days ago, somebody asked me, they're like, "Are you trying to get all the Devils on your team?" And I said, maybe. But yeah, they're fun to watch. Jack Hughes is always awesome. You guys know that. On my fantasy team, I have Nico Hischier. I just picked him up, the captain. Solid. I mean, I don't think he's real flashy, obviously, but very solid, no doubt about it on that end. I remember all those years ago, like way back, Brian, you remember this, like in the 90s, the Devils, didn't they win a cup or two playing like a neutral zone trap? I can't get away from that in my mind. Every time I'm watching them, I keep thinking back to the old days back then. And obviously they're not like that anymore. It's an offensive minded team. Timo Meyer's still really good. He's good in this fantasy format too. A lot of hits that guy gets. So if he doesn't get you a goal or an assist, he's going to pick up a couple hits and at least get on the scorecard a lot of nights. But yeah, I like the Devils. I don't want to get too many of them, I guess. They have a couple down weeks and you've got 4 or 5 of those guys on your team. It's going to hurt you, I think. But if they're on and they're playing and clicking on all cylinders offensively, those couple of weeks where you have 3 or 4 of those guys, you are absolutely in business. And speaking of Logan Cooley, I picked up Logan Cooley from the Mammoth as part of that same trade. I also got Jesper Bratt. Honestly, I've been watching Bratt. He's been kind of quiet. I mean, I think he's just a steady, kind of quiet dude, but I don't think they've actually cranked it up yet. I really don't think they have. And I think when they do, you guys will be hearing about it from me, because I'll be texting you all kinds of crap on our home fantasy league text I'm going to bring a little life into that thing here before it's all said and done.
Yeah, and great call out, Gail, on Brat. Quiet as they go. But he does it. He does it year in and year out. And quiet. I wish I could actually have a guy on our team that had 11 goals and 11 points in 10 games, and he's quiet. But it has been quiet. Only 18 shots on goal. He's more of a facilitator than he is a scorer. He 13 hits in 10 games as well. You got to like that. Pacing for 90 some hits. So in a bangers league, he's very, very valuable. And we got a young Dawson Mercer, 24 years old, is finally maybe starting to actually come into his own, right? So far right now, 8 points in 10 games, only 15 shots in 10 games, but I love the hits at 7, blocks at 14. So you got 21 peripheral hits and blocks. That's very, very nice for a guy in an ultra bangers league, actually almost averaging 4 points a game. Very, very good for Dawson Mercer. And you actually even got Palat, who's actually getting some really good deployment right now on a top line with Hughes and Bratt. And that second line with Meyer, Heischer, and Mercer. I mean, so they're really, really, really stacked at the top 6. Very, very stacked. But they've had a pleasant surprise. Connor Brown, the guy that actually came over from Edmonton, he's showing his ass right now. He's shooting at a ridiculous 33%. He got 15 shots on goal, 5 goals. That's not going to continue at all. He's there on the third line as well. So obviously, don't go be adding Connor Brown. But if you have him and need to stream, and you know that Jersey actually has a good schedule for a week, fine, stream him, right? To see if you can actually catch that lightning in a bottle. But Connor Brown's actually out of his mind right now.
Yeah. Again, one of those things where, who would have thought? And it is funny, Gail. I did not realize the connection you had with the New Jersey Devils. I'm looking now. The one thing I do know, obviously, New Jersey grabbing headlines for their 8 wins, rolling off 8 wins in a row. So if you're going to pick a team to follow or to mirror, I think you picked the right team. That said, I just looked at the standings on the home league here. Gail, first year in, as he's a self-appointed or self-announced hockey novice, if you will, sitting here 2-1. But the thing with Gail, and again, this is, I think, first time face to face, haven't met in person, but you got good chirps, dude. You got good chirps. You got the league going. It's a funny time. We got as most do, and most listeners hopefully do, you got to set up those leagues. You get them in there, and then you get your text chats going. You get, you just kind of just poke the bear a little bit, to get some life into it. It's supposed to be fun. I mean, the money's, nobody's playing this to, retire early or use it as a second job or a second income. You're here to talk to the boys. So, A+ chirp game there, Gail, and so far so good at 2-1 with a pretty high point total. So, yeah, I guess following the Devils has worked out for you there.
Yeah,
I've just got started on a chirping too, by the way. I had to ask Brian. I was like, "Are these guys going to be okay if I come in there and do what I can do?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, just have at it. Do what you like."
That's what I said. I said, let them have it. They need, actually, somebody needs to wake them up.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and continue around the ice here as we wrap up the games in progress. Dallas Stars, no surprise here, winning 1-0 versus the Capitals. And when I actually say no surprise here, meaning a low-scoring game. Dallas really hasn't got their footing yet to really go crazy as they normally would. Especially, I know Rupe Hentz has actually had an injury; he's out tonight. Sagan actually has been out a couple games. He came back and scores a goal tonight as well. And the Capitals just love to play this type of game where they're just not scoring, and they haven't been scoring of late. They've been playing a lot of lower-scoring games, and there's no surprise that's 1-0. If you had the under on that game, which I assume was 5.5, you're loving it right now. The Red Wings going to the Blues, and the Blues now have actually fell off a cliff. They fell off a cliff. Their entire team is actually so I'll tell you a story. My grandpa was a very interesting guy, and he hated the St. Louis Cardinals so bad.
Oh, yeah.
After the Cardinals would actually beat the Cubs, let's say on a 3-game trip, he would actually literally tell us as young kids, I hope their plane crashes and they all die. So I mean, that was our grandpa. And so there was just something special about that. But I want to say the Blues, it's almost as if that's actually happened to their team. They're down 4-1 tonight at home to the Red Wings. The Blues cannot stop the puck. I think they've actually given up the most goals in the AHL. Whether it's been a Bennington, whether it's been a Hofer, it hasn't mattered. It has been awful. Actually, absolutely awful for the Blues, who are going to now, I want to say, what's their record? They're going to fall to 3-6-1 after this game, likely. But we should not actually count the chickens before they hatch, right? Because right now the Blackhawks have now let their lead slip to 4-3. They challenge a goal. They lose a challenge. They're going to go ahead and kill off another power play here right now. This is what it talks about, actually putting your foot down. And actually, when you have a team on the ropes, getting them out, and they've let them back in the game. This is going to be a high-scoring affair. This will be a fun one in the event that the Hawks actually come up on a winning end of this here. And then the last game I want to talk about here before we actually wrap up around the ice is the Winnipeg Jets at the Minnesota Wild, a team in the Wild who has not played well. Kaprizov hasn't actually all played that great so far. They're 3-5-2. They lead a really, really good Winnipeg 3-2, almost halfway through the third. And you actually have a goal by Kirill Kaprizov. And I said 6 goals in 10 games. It's not very good so far. It's pretty good, right? It's pretty good, but yet he just really you expect him to actually carry that whole team and to have Boldy to actually go crazy with him as well. And I'm sure that Matt Zuccarello is hurt. He always is. I have no idea. I'm just saying he's always hurt. He's old. He's like 102 years old. And you got assists tonight from Marco Rossi, 2 of them tonight. And then Ryan Hartman, actually a guy I picked up. I like Hartman because he shoots the puck a ton. He gets good deployment. He'll shoot about 10 to 12% on the season, and he'll get some assists. Hartman is a pretty good pickup, especially in a bangers league. He's usually all around the puck as well. So the ex-Blackhawk, Ryan Hartman. So that is a game that's 3-2. And that right now wraps up our around the ice. And we actually mentioned those other games earlier. I will say JJ Peterka actually gets an unassisted goal. And now going into Edmonton, that is a 2-0 game. And Edmonton just really has not got it together early on. They're not clicking like Edmonton normally does. And you got to be a little concerned for them.
Oh, and I remember, I think they were horrifically bad, weren't they? Was it last year or the year before? So back-to-back conference finals. We all know the story there. Florida's beat them twice in a row. So couldn't remember if it was
Cup
last
finals.
year or the year
Yeah.
before. Cup finals. I'm sorry. But they sometimes do stumble out of the gate. Nowhere near panic button time. I mean, if playoffs ended today, even with the Blackhawks game at hand, where they've disappointingly let the Senators back in, they actually would be a playoff team, and Edmonton would be out. So again, just saying. And then old JJ Peterka, you called him out on earlier when we were talking about him. Of course, he tucks one in, and double hooks. I don't know. They should call him that. Do they call him that? I don't know. Like, because you all the poker players out there, you call pair aces or pocket aces the hooks. I think if they don't call him that, it's a missed opportunity. You got to call JJ hooks. But anyway, Edmonton slow start. Skinner hasn't been the problem. It's been the rest of the team, the lack of scoring and their abysmal defense. Skinner has done his part, which is very rare. So I don't know. I no panic button. They'll be fine, but I don't know. Whatever. We'll see.
No, you're right. Stuart Skinner, 2-3 right now, a 251 and an 895. Not great, but for Stuart Skinner, not bad. He's not the problem right now.
Right.
And
He's
problem,
making big saves. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be interesting because Zach Hyman's supposed to come back there next week. They're shooting actually for maybe this weekend for him to actually come back. And you do wonder if that'll be the boost they actually need to kind of level those lines out, right? That's McDavid's top line pair mate there to get him on there to get it going. And maybe that'll be just what they need because guys like, even if you end up looking like Evan Bouchard, I have Evan Bouchard in our dynasty league, and Evan Bouchard has not done a thing. He has not actually 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points in 11 games. But you like 30 shots on goal, shooting the puck a lot, right? So that's good, but just nothing to show for it. You got to think that's going to tilt, and it's going to go the other way pretty soon. All right, let's go ahead and go into our next segment here as we check in on our Around the Ice Listeners League.
It's Weekend Update with Colin Jost and Michael Che.
All right, Aaron. So I want to throw it over to you because honestly, you're the man in the league. You and this guy named Pucky Puckerson, who I don't know who he is, but I'm hoping actually Pucky Puckerson will visit us on the podcast sometime. But you guys are the only 3-0 teams left. So I don't know if you've been cheating or if you've been, you're just damn lucky is what you are. But talk about your team a little bit. I mean, feel free to even bring up your team, go through your roster a little bit. What's made you actually 3-0 so far? Talk a little bit about your guys. Why you're actually getting your team up there. Let me say, this is a light bangers league. Okay, so 3 points for a hit, 3 points for a block. Your traditional scoring 4 goals, 4 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. You got 1 goalie start, 2 centers, 2 left wing, 2 right wing, 3 defensemen, 2 utilities, and you got 5 bench spots there. And it's week to week, head to head weekly matchups there. No categories. I'm not crazy about categories. I'm in a couple of those. But Aaron, give us a little bit by why your team is so unbelievably good.
Well, I kind of cut to the chase here. I'm going to talk about 3 guys that have. He's been playing well. He's got the he's hit the. What I did was I kind of went in with kind of loaded up on those right wings, but really it's just you hit the nail on the head, Toast. It's luck. Frankie Nazar, his lightning hot start. Natchez is doing his thing, no surprise there. Jack Hughes, one of the New Jersey guys, got Luke Hughes, got the other New Jersey guy, but these guys are just off to good starts, quite honestly. So it's through no grand master plan. No, there's been no cheating, no running numbers. Last thing I'll mention real quickly here is I adopted the Toast Takes goalie strategy. I took a goalie that's on a team that's going to win a lot. He might not be a big name, but then I handcuffed him with his backup, and those are the Wood, Wedgwood and Blackwood, the Wood boys out of Colorado.
The Wood brothers,
so,
yeah.
The Wood brothers, yes. So that's what I did for goalie. That was one of the last things I did. He's still out on the board. I hate goalies. I skip goalies. We're only starting 1, thankfully, but just handcuff those guys. So I always have the Colorado's netminder in net and playing, and it's paid off so far. So we'll see. And like you said, Pucky Puckerson, we're going head to head. There's only going to be 1 undefeated team after this. Right now, it is absolutely neck and neck. So it is a slugfest, just like it was billed to be. Hats off. I just hope I dust him like I dusted Jorge last week. Jorge comes on the pod and wants to talk puck, and it's his first year too, just like our boy Gale. But Jorge got taught a lesson.
That's
and
right.
Jorge now Jorge is a little bit quieter in the chat. He's muted a little bit.
Yeah.
I hope to have him back. I hope I didn't hurt his feelings too bad, but this is what happens. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
Fun league.
Aaron, don't let up. Don't let up. Just
Okay.
murder everybody.
I was trying to be nice. Yeah.
I don't want you to have any sympathy for Jorge. He'll be fine. I mean, if I'm playing you, when I eventually play you, I'm just going to do everything I can to murder you. And I actually hope your entire team comes down with COVID all at the same time. That's what I want. But before I'm gonna pass over to Gale here soon, because Gale, I'm gonna pass over to you here in a minute, because Gale's made a lot of trades in our home dynasty league, and I want him to talk about the team he inherited, a lot of the moves he's actually done, and why he's actually done those moves. But before we do that, let's just go over some top 10 scoring players in our home league here. And again, I went over the scoring format there. But what you know, Nick Schmaltz is actually leading the entire freaking league in points through 10 games, just how we drew it up, right? 6.4 points a game in a light bangers format. Adrian Kempe, 5.8 points a game, good for third. An upcoming UFA. Wouldn't he actually look real good wearing the Indian sweater, right? The sweater. He'd look really, really, really good wearing that. He's only making $5.5 million in this deal. You got to think that Kempe, if I got his age right, I think he's 26, somewhere around there. Kempe is going to make north of 10, and that's going to actually happen probably somewhere around that 11. And you want that 8-year, maybe the $11 million per. That sounds about right. He's looking for close to a $90 million deal, and he's probably going to get it. The Hawks got plenty of money. We can go ahead and just make that happen. Boy, he'd look real nice in a Hawks uniform. And then Macklin Celebrini, averaging 6.1 points a game, 7th in the league of scoring. 19-year-old. It's insane. It's insane what he's doing. It's an unreal start. I think he's got 15 points in the first 9. It's insane what he's actually doing. There's always that comparison between him and Bedard. Right now, he's got the upper hand. He does. I mean, he's I can't even say he's actually got better players than Bedard to play with. I think he does, but not by much, and he's just doing a lot with it. But we're pretty proud of our boy Connor Bedard as well, with the 2 goals tonight on a hat trick watch. And then Logan Cooley, as we actually mentioned, 10th in the league in scoring in our home league, 5 points a game. And Utah, we talked about again, what a start. But Gail, I'm going to pass it over to you. And you had 3 trades, and let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the team you inherited and what your plan was before you made any of these deals on how you were going to rebuild what was a fairly poor team in a dynasty deep league. So maybe talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's your guys' league. There's 10 teams. You guys have 1 each. You needed a 10th man to come in there. You'd asked me to do this before. I told you no. You asked me why. I said, I'll waste too much time on it. I have an addictive personality when it comes to things like this, when there's numbers flashing on screen sometimes. And damn, I wasn't wrong. I mean, this is stupid how much time you spend on something that doesn't even make any difference and is totally fictitious on your screen. But I inherited this team. I was told the team wasn't real good, but had some superstars on it. So I come in. I actually renamed the team. I'll get into that here in a moment. But I inherited a team that was real top heavy. I mean, I had some studs. I had David Pastrnak, I had Kyle Connor, and I had Philip Forsberg. I mean, I had a top 3 that was heavy. The team beyond that had a couple other guys that were nice players, but then I had very little depth, and I was old. So I came in and started to think, what do I want to do here? And my first goal was to take a couple of those top 3 guys. It ended up being Pastrnak and Connor, and I wanted to trade them and make them into 2 guys on my roster. My whole goal was to take my couple superstars, trade them, and build depth. To have a team that was solid top to bottom instead of just being top heavy, ready to fall over. So I hung it out there. I went to the group chat and said, boys, pasta's available. And Aaron, you and I were the first people to talk about a pasta deal. It did not work out. You like your guys. You guys must have a pretty good relationship, you being the owner and those boys on your team. But I moved on to the next person. I will tell you guys this. I didn't have anybody reach back to me. I think, Aaron, you were maybe the only one that even commented on it. But I started looking at rosters and started to identify some players, some people that maybe I could deal with. So I went to a person in our league, and I offered out pasta. And I said who I wanted back was Jesper Bratt and Logan Cooley. And didn't get it done. I ended up saying I'd throw in Brock Nelson. And that did it. It was almost immediate. That deal was executed within minutes after I said I'd get Brock Nelson. Obviously, pasta's pasta. Brock Nelson with a new team. I think in time he'll probably click with them. But in my mind, I was thinking it's a brand new situation. I have no clue what 34-year-old Brock Nelson's going to do with him. I think he'll be solid, but he's 34. I was in my mind thinking my team can't win now, so I will simply move pasta. I'll take Bratt. and Cooley. Cooley's 21. Brad's also in his 20s. I'm thinking now, I've got a bunch of time with these two guys, and Cooley's just went berserk, as you guys know, and Brad's Brad. So I turned Pasta into Brad and Cooley. I could have laid low maybe for a couple of weeks, see what happens. But like I said, to me, looking at the roster, looking at all the numbers, my mind's constantly churning on how I can do something else. To me, the trading and the looking at the rosters is a fun part of this. Some of you guys that are patient and stay pat for years, I don't get it. I'm not like that. I'm wanting to move on some things. But next up, I was thinking, okay, Forsberg. I'm going to move Forsberg. I offered him to a few people, didn't work out. I said, you know what? Maybe Kyle Connor's the bigger piece here that people would like. So hung Kyle Connor out to a few people. Actually, I was aware that, hey, JT's a huge Kyle Connor fan. So I reached out to JT, who's also in our home league, and I said, you want to own Kyle Connor? You want him on your crew? And he did. So we started talking about it and ended up putting Kyle Connor over to JT's team and ended up turning that into Drake Batherson, Nico Hirschier, and got a first-round pick from JT. So got two solid players right now for Kyle Connor. Obviously, that's a big name to lose off your roster. He's a stud. Drake Batherson has just went nuts here. He has 2 assists right now. Right, he's leading the Senators back against the Blackhawks right now up at the UC. I got a chance to watch him play a little bit. All he was to me was numbers on a screen, looking at his trajectory over the last couple of years, and had a chance to watch him play now. Very smooth, bigger than what I was expecting when I watched him play. Just a big offensive presence. Nothing flashy. I've watched the Devils play a number of times now. He's just the glue. He's the glue. When they're going good, he's the guy he's wearing the C on his chest for a reason. I've learned that. Also got a first-round pick from JT, which I in turn now have unloaded. The third trade, I think this is the one I'll take some heat on. Like I said, I was trying to get younger by trading off Pasta and Connor. Got my guys that were younger, all in their 20s. And then all of a sudden, I started whipping ass. Last week, I threw up a gigantic number in the league. And I'm like,
I know.
You know what? Maybe this building for the future is overrated. This is a fantasy league that I barely have any money in. And if I'm going to sit and look at this stuff for 6 hours a day, maybe I should just try to win like right now, next year, the year after. Because who knows what I'm going to do in 6 years when these 18-year-old, 20-year-old kids are, 6 years into it. I may lose interest and not be around. I don't know. So I started to think, what else can I do now? And talking to some people, talking to Brian, he's like, what about Matthew Schaefer? Would you trade Matthew Schaefer? And I said, you know what? I wonder what I could get for Matthew Schaefer. So approached another guy in our fantasy league who had Braden Point, a guy off to a real rough start. Braden Point's 29 years old. The Lightning can't remain this bad. So I'm thinking Braden Point's at a low point right now, no pun intended. So I offered up Matthew Schaefer straight up for Braden Point. And people are like, you're nuts. Why would you do that? He's 18. I don't know. He's a defenseman. He plays for the Islanders. I do think he's going to be really, really damn good. But could I get Braden Point? Would Braden Point outscore him if Braden Point does Braden Point things from this point forward in the season? I thought, you know what? I think he can. And for the next many years, I think Braden Point will be an excellent player. Schaefer is going to be wonderful. I'm not sold on the Islanders at all. I know they got some decent guys in the system, but I don't know. It's that Islander boring brand of hockey. I'm just not a fan. The guy who had Point came back and said, I think I'm going to need a little bit more. And at that point, I should have just said, nope, it's straight up. I get Braden Point, you get Matthew Schaefer, you get younger, I get a chance to win now. But of course, I said, well, what are you thinking? Like an idiot. And it came back that he wanted a couple more. He wanted another guy off my roster from the minors, and he wanted the first round pick that JT had just sent me. So now it became Schaefer, a minor league player, and my first round pick for Braden Point. And I'm thinking I might do that, but maybe I should ask for somebody else. And this is where I'm going to take some heat, I think. I looked at his roster and I saw Travis Konechny, I know, who has been not good for the Flyers here. another boring team to watch. Did a quick little research on Travis Konechny, and I'm like, he's at 3.4 points per game, and he's been terrible. So he hits enough. He does a couple little things, the blocks and the hits, that keeps him on the score sheet. And he can't remain this bad. He has 1 goal in 8 games. You go back to last season, and he wasn't very good at the end of the year either. So he's down in the valley right now. But it ended up that I ended up going Matthew Schaefer, the first-round pick, the minor leaguer, who we'll get to in a minute, and I had to put Zach Bolduc into the equation. I had buyer's remorse this morning. I'm like, I probably didn't need to do that, but I offered it up, and I got Braden Point and Travis Konechny. So it ends up on paper for me being, I moved Pasta, Kyle Connor, and Matthew Schaefer. I also threw in Brock Nelson, Zach Bolduc, a draft choice, and a minor leaguer. And I ended up with Jesper Bratt, Logan Cooley, Drake Batherson, Nico Hirscher, Braden Point, and Travis Konechny. So I got my 6 guys for the 3 big names, Schaefer, Connor, and Pasta. I think I turned out pretty good. I felt worse about moving my minor leaguer this morning than anything else, quite honestly. I was like, damn, I should have kept that guy. But making big moves. I will tell you guys this, and I'll tell you this, Aaron. I know people are like, why would you trade Matthew Schaefer to get Braden Point and Konechny, both guys who are not off the good starts? I went back and checked. Point in the last 2 years has been 25th in fantasy points and then 43rd in fantasy points. Konechny was 37th at the end of 2024. He was 37th in fantasy points. Last year, he was 50th in what everybody thought was a terrible season for him. So in a season where he wasn't really that good at all, he was 50th in points. So I moved Matthew Schaefer, and I picked up a guy who was 43rd in fantasy points last year and a guy that was 50th to add to those other names, because my goal is to win this league right now. I don't know if I can do it. You guys would know better than I do, but I think I got a chance. I do know, Aaron, that you're 3-0 in your listeners league, and you're 2-1 in our league. And I haven't shit talked a whole lot about that one loss that you've got, or that you beat me at one time, but you'll beat me the next time, I should say. But that one loss, I luckily hung on you in week 1, and then I made these moves. So I don't know. You guys can assess what you think about it more than maybe I. Like I said, I'm a novice. I'm looking at numbers. You guys know the players way better than I do. So have at it. You guys can break those down now. Sorry to take up so much time on that.
No, Gail, I'm glad you broke that down the way you did, basically saying, breaking out each trade, because I know you told me this morning you had buyer's remorse on that last one, mainly because you actually had to move a minor leaguer, Roman Kanserov, who's actually leading the KHL in scoring. And then my response was, don't worry about it. And the reason being is the fact that you move on a guy like Matthew Schaefer, and we all know that Matthew Schaefer, he's going to be a really, really good player. But you got to look at the format of the league you play in. And we're a very heavy bangers league. For a defenseman, he has to be Cale Makar. And if he's not Cale Makar, then you can actually go out on the waiver wire and actually pick up guys who just beat the shit out of one another and actually get close to the 4 points a game that he would actually get by just the goals and assists with no hits or blocks. So it makes sense. And it also made sense for the other guy actually making the trade for you, because he's in a rebuild format as well, right? So he moves on from a 29-year-old and actually also a 26-year-old. He gets the 21-year-old stud that's actually tearing up the KHL, the Blackhawks prospect. He gets Matthew Schaefer, the 18-year-old. He actually gets a pick as well. It worked out great for basically where both teams are, right? So there shouldn't be any buyer's remorse. In the end, you've taken a terrible team and actually made it probably a top 3 or 4 team in our league. And you have a lot of firepower on that team. And now you just need to just cool off, calm down, let the rest of us actually have a little bit of fun, because you're just a big hog. And we're sick of it. So, you don't need to do that no more. And the 6 hours a day, you don't need to do that either. Because here's the
Well,
deal: I'm worried about
I'm
you
sure
because you
that's
won't
going to go on a
last.
downward slide here soon.
It better because what's going to happen here in about a
Yeah.
year? You're going to be like, you know what? I'm kind of done with this, and you're going to have to find a replacement. And like, we're not going to let you. So you're in jail for
Hey,
fantasy.
there's one more thing, and you guys can chime in on this too. And like I said,
Like
I
a
have
plane
never
crash
done.
with the Cardinals?
No, nothing like that. I never wished that on them either. That was
I
another
didn't.
That was
guy.
Grandpa.
That
Yeah.
was
Grandpa.
crazy. I mean, but he'd say stuff like that all the time, just
He's dead serious
see a
too.
reaction, and he'd
Dead
keep a
serious.
straight face. I mean, it was like dead serious. But
Yeah.
one
my
thing I'll
God.
ask you guys, or you guys can chime in for the listeners. I've got my team set, but my bottom of the roster guys, like the guys that I'm trying to play on days where there's not a lot of other games. Instead of going and trying to find guys on the waiver wire or trying to have guys on the bottom of my roster that maybe you're going to get a goal or maybe you're going to get an assist or not, I'm just going for guys that knock the shit out of other people. I'm just going for guys like Trennan from Minnesota, Tanev from Utah. You just come in and take 5 or 6 hits a game and give me 2.5 or 3 points. And if I can get that from 3 guys 3 times a week, then I make up 20 points and I don't have to worry about anybody making a goal, hitting an assist, because we know that kind of comes and goes. I'm pretty much thinking that these guys that are fourth liners, they better knock somebody out or they're not going to be fourth liners for very long. So I'm fine with being, I guess, at the bottom of my roster with just a bunch of bare knuckle brawlers that are just going to punch you in the mouth. And I'll take my 15 to 20 points a week with those guys. You guys said with Schaefer, it was in the back of my mind. I mean, I don't know if he's going to hit and block enough. He's going to be offensive minded. I know every book on him says he's a wonderful skater and he's a great defenseman. Is he gonna hit and block enough in this format? Like you said, Brian, he has to score goals and have a lot of assists, and maybe he will. I hope he does for the guy that I traded him to. But if he doesn't, then will he hit and block enough to score you the points in this format that merit you keeping him around instead of adding Braden Point and then taking a reclamation prize? If I can get baseline play out of Konechny, if he can just score 300 and some fantasy points, that would be wonderful. I would take that, and I think that would be good for me. But what do you guys think about the bangers, just the pickup bangers? Because nobody's really looking for them, are they? They're looking for guys that might score a goal or 2 in the week.
Yeah, if you are in a league where you can stream so many players a week, you definitely need to stream bangers, right? And if you are in a dynasty league, then you better hope those bangers can actually hold up. Their bodies can actually hold up. You're going to not have so many streaming options during the season because whether you're working with Fab, whether you're working just maybe with so many a limit on pickups or whatnot. You don't really want to waste a whole lot of money and a whole lot of pickups on a guy you just may stream. So you're really hoping to find that 23, 24, 25-year-old that'll actually get you 300 hits a season. And then he does it for 2 straight seasons. And then you're like, okay, that can be my banger guy. Now, if you're in a categories league, way different, right? Because then you just like, I got a category of hits. I need that. And you may value it a little bit different. So every league's a little bit different. I love your angle on it, Gail. I think you actually played it really well. And again, I will say as well, John McGlynn, who's actually been on our podcast a few times as well. That's the guy you traded with. I think John also did very well in that trade. I think it worked out really, really good. And I made that in a comment in our chat for our league. I said, both people won this trade. And I truly believe that. Let's go ahead and talk about our next segment where we talk about the AHL, KHL, and SHL scoring leaders, where we pick out a young star that is in the making and we break it down a little bit. Let's go ahead and go into that segment.
And you, young Skywalker, we will watch your career with great interest.
Okay, so we got a guy tonight that we want to talk about. Let me go ahead and set some, okay. Let's go ahead and talk about a guy named Alexander Zarowski from the KHL. Gail, you texted me this morning. You said, hey, I noticed you made a move. And you actually in the home league, you picked up a guy named Zarowski. I'm like, yeah, I did. And the only reason I did is I saw an article on X. Again, I'm not watching tons of like KHL games or even watching tons of NCAA games and just watching tons of minor league hockey. Like, I'm just following stats. and I'm actually going to other websites and seeing what they have to say about it, watching YouTube videos, just like anybody else would. So I decided, you know what, I'll take a flyer on this guy. In the event that he does not actually pan out in the next year or so, I'll drop him. It's not a big deal. It cost me $1 in fab. I got $45 left in fab for the season, 16 regular season weeks. That's around an average of $2, 2 pickups a week if I needed them. And then I still actually about $10, $12 in fab for the playoffs in the event that I make it, right? So no skin off my back picking up a guy named Alexander Zarovsky, 18-year-old, 6'1", 165 pounds, left-handed shot, right winger, the 34th pick overall in the 2025 NHL draft, a Montreal pick. They liked him. They traded number 41 and 49 in last year's draft to trade up to get him at 34. 211 KHL games, again, for an 18-year-old, a man's league, 9 points, 4 goals, 5 assists. He was the Russian Junior League Rookie of the Year last year in the MHL. And he's a very close friend with Montreal's Ivan Demidov as well. So, boy, Montreal just stacking up the young talent. I want to read something here. I'll give you guys a chance to react, but this is really what caught my eye. Summary, lanky winger who dominated the MHL. Likely best puck handler in the 25 draft. Magician in tight spaces. This was a home run pick in the second round. That was by Dauber Prospects, who actually their fantasy upside of 7.5 rating, I think it probably went up since then, right? They did this in August with his hot start. I guarantee the fantasy upside's higher. And the NHL certainty of only 5.5 as well. Remember when we actually covered other guys like Frondell, was like a 9 and a 9, like a can't miss, those type of players. Another Blackhawk guy. I mean, the Blackhawks are just loaded with young talent, and so is Montreal, right? But this was another guy. He moved recently from the wing to the center. Last year, shot 17%. He's only at 19% now. Small sample size, so it's not like it's bloated at like 30%. You got to like what you see so far from a guy. Alexander Zarovsky doing something an 18-year-old normally does not do in the KHL.
Yeah, and I think of your notes, your research, what jumps off to me again is the friendship with Demidov and the same team drafted. Hockey, again, those have played, you listen to the BX pros that do the podcast. It's such a great locker room atmosphere. You could probably say that about any, but hockey players just tend to run together. They have dinner together. They're not in the spotlight like some of the other major sports here in the U.S. So it's a tight-knit group. And the reason why I'm harping on that so much is you bring a guy that speaks Russian, you bring him over. You got Demidov that's having a great year. He's fitting in very well. Well, what better to, bring your pal over and let's see what these boys can do together. I think by default, Dauber Prospects, and I know we had Victor on with Dauber that kind of gave us the behind the curtain peek. Probably the NHL certainty a little low at that 5.5, 5.5 rating, but I think it's just because he's in Russia and you don't know what's going to happen. So we're still in this kind of era where KHL, it's not as easy. Demidov got here early, Michkov got here late, so we don't know when this guy's coming over, if he's coming over, if he's just going to go get tossed in the gulag. We don't know. So little bit of risk, but I like a high reward on that. So could be a home run for you, Toast. I like this guy. I like what I see. I like your thought process behind it. Definitely one of those. We'll have to keep our fingers on the pulse here on this guy.
Yeah, well, you know what? You're damn right. It was a good pickup. I mean, I'm only I'm picking up players that are really good. I do my homework, which really lasts 4 minutes, and I pick up a guy. Gail, you were just mentioning a little while ago on the Devils starting to really pick up momentum and actually get red hot. They were down 5-1 in a second, and wouldn't you know, in a 4-minute segment or 4-minute, they've actually got 4 goals in the last 4 minutes to make it a 5-4 game. They were down 5-0. You got Stefan Nason and Paul Cotter, Dougie Hamilton, Jack Hughes, and Luke Hughes, Dawson Mercer, Nico Hischier, and Timo Meier, and Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt. So Hughes with a goal, Mercer with a goal, Hamilton with a goal, Nason with a goal, assists from Cotter, Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes, Nico Hischier, Timo Meier, Jesper Bratt. All of those guys, that is going to shape up to be an unbelievable finish to a game. It's only halfway through the game there, second period. And I also see Utah is actually clawing back here. Or I'm sorry, giving up the lead now, actually taking the lead back. It's 3-2, which I think that's going to be a wild game as well. So anything you guys would like to talk about with the Devils here as we get to the end of the show?
Well, Dougie Hamilton, I would think a couple weeks ago, I was like, man, I have Dougie Hamilton on my fantasy team. He hasn't done anything. And you said, just wait, just wait. And once again, watching a little bit of Devils hockey and watching him quarterback that power play, I just had to wait. And he went nuts here a few nights ago. And I see that he's on the score sheet again. Man, you just had to mention Nason, didn't you? I was just saying, man, I need to drop Nason. He's on the fourth line. He doesn't do anything. He's on my bench. So I just took the first. Well, I'm sure there's other guys that have people on their bench that have scored a goal. But, man, I wouldn't have expected that from him. I think it's like his third or fourth game back there for Nason. You know, he's a guy I just learned how to pronounce his name. So maybe I should put him in the lineup a little bit more. I'm assuming he'll get a little bit better. One thing I was going to tell you, Brian, how dare you bring me into this league and make me research the KHL? I mean, I didn't even know what the KHL stood for. And now you giving me the link to Quant Hockey or whatever it is. And I'm in study hall at school. I'm a school teacher. I'm in study hall. Yeah, I'm going to check Quant Hockey, see if anybody scored a goal last night. I'm going to check on all these dudes' ages. And there's too much research out there for me to not pay attention to. And I now know what KHL stands for. So I have that going for me too.
Well, and Gail, I'm going to tell you right now, we both like the movie Major League, you know. So remember when Lou Brown was sitting in a dugout and Charlie Sheen's character was actually, banged the guy right in the back and then basically kind of made a gesture to the ump to his crotch, so to speak. Remember that? And remember when Lou Brown says, I think you can go get him now. That's probably what you should actually do with Stefan Nason. He's looked god awful. He's got 1 goal, 6 shots, 4 games, fourth line, only 6 hits as well. He's doing nothing.
Well, you know how it is, though. As soon as you don't have the guy in a lineup, then he hits a goal. I mean, I'm assuming that's pretty normal in these leagues.
Yeah, and hey, wouldn't you know, while we're actually sitting here talking about Major League, McKinnon with a power play goal, assisted by Cale Makar, 10 goals with still 5 minutes to go in the second period. That game is just going bonkers right now. Hey, if you got a lot of Devils on your team, you got a lot of Avs on your team, you're loving this right now. You're loving this for a Tuesday night in this frozen frenzy. Let's go ahead and wrap up this show by talking a little bit about this week's schedule. And as I alluded to earlier, very heavy Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Very frustrating for fantasy managers. Not a lot of choices on the off days on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sundays. Not at all, especially with Frozen Frenzy, right? And you don't have a whole lot of back-to-backs coming out with the Frozen Frenzy as well. So it's really a product of kind of what the NHL is giving its fans. But saying that, there are a couple teams that actually have some good schedules remaining for the week if you want to pick them up and actually target a couple guys. Anaheim, Friday, Sunday. Detroit, Friday, Sunday. The Islanders, I'm going to barf in my mouth a little bit, Friday, Sunday. And Columbus, Wednesday, Sunday as well. So those are some teams you should target in the event that you actually have all of these guys on your bench you can't play, and you're looking for someone to play on these off days, and you have so many moves you have to burn in a given week. Look at those 4 teams: Anaheim, Detroit, Islanders, and Columbus, and they should help you maybe win this week. And this is week 4 in fantasy.
Hey, Aaron, Dylan Larkin, empty net goal to end the game, by the way, just to throw that in there.
Number 8.
Started the show with Larkin. He just got.
Oh, my goodness. This
2
guy,
goals
it's got to
tonight,
be a record start.
Yeah, and Larkin's tended to have done this, right, Aaron? We talked about it last week. The Red Wings tend to get off to hot starts in the season the last couple of years, and so is Dylan Larkin. Their problem has been sustainability throughout the season and actually keeping that going through 82. You hope they found the goaltending situation and they figured that goaltending situation out. I don't know if John Gibson was the answer, but maybe Cam Talbot is the answer. Bennett or Gibson has a good game tonight, 20 out of 22, 2 goals allowed, not bad at all there. But and Talbot has actually played well. I mean, so you just wonder, do they have the goaltending? You hope that they actually do, because they definitely have firepower, and they're doing this without with an injured Patrick Kane. And Kane is actually not in the lineup. We hope it's not too serious. We've been told it's not, but he's definitely listed as day-to-day right now. And you actually have tonight, you have other guys step up. And Mort Seider gets an assist tonight. 1 shot on goal, but no hits, no blocks. 23 minutes time on ice, a +2. That's good numbers for a game, but that's still not Mort Seider, especially in a Bangers League. He should be getting plenty of hits and plenty of blocks, and he's getting 0 for the entire game. That is a little concerning. So beware Mort Seiders, and it may be time to buy low in certain leagues as well with him. Okay, well, we are at the 1 hour and 20-minute mark. Went a little bit long tonight, but then again, who cares, because it's Frozen Frenzy. We want to do so. I want to thank Fantasy and Frames tonight for giving us this platform to talk about fantasy hockey, our NHL gambling picks, and everything there is about the game of hockey. I am Toast Clark. You can find me at Toast Clark on the X. Our regular co-host, Aaron Tomatich, at Titch4141, and our special guest tonight and reoccurring guest, Gail Clark, at Gail Clark40 on the X. And tune in every Tuesday night, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern on Around the Ice. Give us a follow at Fantasy and Frames Hockey, at FIF Hockey on the X. And also, it is Around the Ice podcast, keeping 4 eyes on the puck, Fantasy and Frames on YouTube. Please just give us one of those stupid thumbs up so we can actually know you listen to us. Shoot us some questions about your league, and we will sign off for tonight. We will see you next Tuesday. Enjoy the late games tonight.